All right, now I'll go ahead and really take it away. Thank you for being here for our PsyD versus PhD meeting. This is going to be our last meeting of the semester. We've been looking forward to this one, to have some alumni back and sharing their experiences about their continued education. So we're looking forward to that, and big thanks for you guys being here. Announcements. Thank you for joining us at our last fundraiser at Panera. We were able to make enough money to fund ourselves for an in-person meeting with pizza and snacks and drinks. So it paid off. So thank you for being there. Another announcement is that we have our shirts for sale. So we have short sleeve, long sleeve. They're awesome. I think I saw Jania wearing hers too. If you don't have it yet, get it for Christmas for yourself. Go ahead, splurge, get a sticker while you're at it. So those are our big announcements there. And then I think we're just gonna get right to it with asking our guest speakers. So we've come up with some questions that we're gonna go through and have them answer for us. And then if you have any additional questions, we can go ahead and save those for towards the end. But of course, if you have a burning question, you can go ahead and raise your hand and then we can go from there. So without further ado, let's please give a warm welcome to our SCP alumni, Jania Green and Danielle Wong. I hope she's in here now, but if not, we'll hopefully see her soon. So if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, Jania, and tell us a little bit about your continued education.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So I'm Jania. I graduated from Long Beach last year, so May 2020. And right now I'm at the University of Denver in their clinical psychology PsyD program. Yeah, I'm a first year student there, and I just wrapped up my first quarter with the in the program. So quarter system is something else. I don't know how to describe it, but wow, it's like a shock, honestly. But once you're through your first quarter, I feel like you can adjust a little bit. But yeah, it was a little bit weird going from 3 classes to 6. So yeah.
That's definitely a big change. That's a lot of classes. And then I'm not sure if we have Danielle in here yet, but we'll see if we can't get some info from her later on. So I'm going to go ahead and start us off with our first kind of big question, which was, in your opinion, how do you make yourself distinguishable for getting into a continued education program such as a PsyD?
Yeah, I think like helping yourself like stand out can be done in a lot of different ways. I received like a lot of information when I was planning on starting a doctoral program. I know some people are like, get clinical experience. Some people say get research experience, and that really, whatever you decide to get determines which program you're going to go to. Kind of. I'm sure, like when Danielle is able to speak about it, like the PhD side of it is very research heavy, where the PsyD side is more clinical. So you're getting that one-on-one therapy very early, opposed to, I think, some PhD programs. The program I'm in right now is pretty rare. They have you start seeing clients your first quarter. So very like, but they tell you that before. So I promise you, like, if that program's going to have you do it. So I knew what I was signing up for, but yeah, so when it comes to like making yourself stand out for these programs, for me, I applied to both PhD and PsyD programs. I was accepted to this PsyD program and then a PhD program. And so I had a balance of research, but also clinical experience. That clinical experience came from my time at Long Beach, consulting with one of the teams there, but also as a crisis counselor for Crisis Text Line. So I felt like I had the sports experience, but I also wanted non-sports experience, because this program is just a clinical psych program. But I also had that research side. So I think that helped me appeal a little bit more to the PhD.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that stuff. Um, we'll go ahead and move on to the next question, which is what job opportunities would be available for someone like you in a PsyD position versus if you had gone like the PhD route? What does that look like?
Yeah, so with the PsyD route, a lot of the opportunities that come with it are clinical because you're getting a lot of hours. I think in our first year, we get about, I want to say 480 hours with just like our different internships or externships that we have. So I think the jobs that can come out of it is, you have your private practices. You can open up your own private practice as a clinical psychologist. Within my program, there's specialty tracks. So I forgot to mention earlier, but I'm doing a clinical psychology doctoral program, but a specialty in substance use. So I take about 4 different classes, 3 to 4 classes on substance use. And that just allows me to have like a certain type of specialty. The program's going through a lot of different changes right now. So some of the specialty tracks are a little bit different, but I know we have forensics classes, as well as military psychology and child psychology. So people are able to take elective courses, I think about 4 of them or something like that, and become specialized with that specialty track. So I think some people are able to leave working in the forensic psych world. I'm currently doing an externship in doing court mandated therapy, with just people who've been within the forensic world that have been referred to our clinic for, DUI classes, domestic violence classes, stuff like that. So that's a route that could happen. I'm not going that route. I just really wanted some like experience that was kind of outside of sport, but yeah, so you can become like a forensic psychologist. A lot of people work in psychiatric settings. I think I said private practices, military psych, and there's a lot of different ways you can do it. So from my understanding, becoming a licensed psychologist, but also a professor. A lot of my professors right now actually graduated from the PsyD program here. So yeah, it's very possible to do your PsyD degree and then become a professor as well and do research too.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And then we'll go ahead and just kind of fill in the blank with the PhD stuff. So I'm going to ask Kaylee because I feel like you know quite a bit about the PhD route at this point. Maybe you can fill in some blanks and share with us your knowledge as it regards to that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I'm currently applying to PhD programs, so I can't claim to be a super big expert, but I did navigate the PsyD versus PhD decision and know that I want to do a PhD. It is very research focused. um, and when you're applying to programs, you specifically, in almost every place, apply under a particular advisor. So it's not just like this general pool of applicants. You really have to find a mentor whose research interests align with yours, because ultimately they're the ones that are going to guide you through not only your own dissertation, but like other personal projects, and you're expected to help with their projects. And so it's really, really helpful if your interests align so that you're not just working on like random projects that don't really have to do with what you want to do. And so that they have the background and knowledge in your area to be able to guide you in a more like specific way. And I don't know, what else do I know? I also want to be a professor, like a faculty member, but like a tenured track, like research faculty member. So PhD was better suited for me, just because I'm more interested in the performance side. I'm not as interested in becoming a clinical psychologist. So the realm of sports psychology that I like is the research and performance aspect. Yeah, so I'm applying to specifically like kinesiology based and like sports sciences sort of programs.
And then to follow that up, so that would be like the goal with PhD is to become like a professor or researcher. And then to tie it all together, the PsyD, you're working with people individually in a clinical. So for those of us who are still trying to differentiate, what is the difference between the two? That's kind of the big difference there. And my next question was actually answered by Eugenia in your last response. And the question was, can you become a teacher with both a PsyD and PhD? So it's good to know. And then if you want to tell us anything about how maybe your teachers got to where they are with their PsyD, that would be a nice
Yeah.
piece of information.
I think also to add, like with the PhD, it is possible to become a licensed psychologist as well. I do know a couple PhD, well, they have their PhDs, so but they become clinical psychologists as well. And I think the previous program director at my program, she was a she had her PhD, but she also did clinical work and was also a professor and a program director. So it always gets a little tricky. I think when I was applying, it's like these are kind of the same. It's just like research is heavy in PhD, like Kaylee was saying. So, and that advisor part as well. So yeah, I think a lot of my professors, like I said, they do have their PsyD from the University of Denver and or other PsyD programs throughout the country. And a lot of them also do research here. It's not as heavily focused on, but they have their private research that they engage in. They have a couple grants for them, depending on the professors as well. And sometimes students within the program can work under those projects with the professors. And I know for my program, it's very much you have to seek research opportunities. It doesn't really get offered to you because the program is very focused on giving you that clinical experience. I mean, it's also another workload because you have 6 classes. We do about 16 hours of clinical work a week. And then you also see 2 clients within our personal clinic. So if you're taking on research, it's because you're like passionate about it. And so I like that there was availability for research if you were passionate about it. Because personally, I had, when I was making my decision between University of Denver and then Howard University's PhD program, I was kind of stuck. I liked research, but I liked my research. I didn't want to do someone else's research, especially because Howard didn't have a sports psychology master's there. Well, they didn't have like sports opportunities, basically. And, one of the biggest deciders was the research. And I just kind of decided to go with the PsyD route because I can still do research while here. So we don't have a dissertation, which I'm like, yay, because I mean, it'd be a lot, a thesis times 4. But we have something that's called a doctoral paper where you have full, you can choose what you want to do with it. Some have written a children's book and then did like a 10-page write-up on their experience writing the book. Some people have done almost a dissertation and done like a published study or something like that, which I'm going that route for some reason. I have to start soon, but I'm going to do a IRB study. I'm just going to take the project I did at Long Beach and make it a little bit bigger. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun, but I don't have to do the whole dissertation formally. So yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And I've noticed that we had our other guest speaker join us. So welcome, Danielle. Thank you for being here.
Hi, good evening. My sincerest apologies for running a little behind.
No worries. We're glad to have you here. So
thank
we
you
were
for
just
having me.
going through a few, yeah, of course. We're going through a few questions. We had just talked about kind of just differences between the two programs. So Jania had just mentioned she doesn't have to do a dissertation, but I know that you do. So can you tell us a little bit about what a dissertation process is like?
Of course. So the dissertation process, it first starts off with a proposal. So like the thesis, you present your intentions to what exactly you'd like to do. And this includes the purpose of your study, the research questions and what you would like to answer, which drives then your methods. And so once you propose in front of your committee, then you can proceed forward to then conducting your research for your dissertation. And so right now, or at this point, I guess in my dissertation experience and career, I have proposed, I've collected my data. I just finished analyzing it. And so now it's the write-up process to then also prepare for the dissertation defense. And so I would say it's a very humbling experience in terms of finding what exactly there are portions to improve upon and just keep striving for that extra step and being challenged to go further. So the one thing that I feel has carried on from my thesis experience to dissertation is when you feel you've gone the furthest, you can still go a little bit further.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And then I did realize that I skipped your introduction. So if you wanted to tell us a little bit like about yourself and like how you found yourself in a PhD program, that would be awesome.
Okay. So I did both my undergraduate and graduate master's work in California. I am an alum of Cal State Long Beach, where Dr. Eid was my advisor. And so I knew from early on in starting my experience at Cal State Long Beach that I wanted to teach and I wanted to pursue a PhD. And so I do remember like sitting in Dr. Eid's office along with a really close colleague of mine who is going to Long Beach at the same time and expressing, interest in applying for PhD, what exactly that entailed, how much work it was going to be. And throughout my experience at Cal State Long Beach and completing my thesis, it really reiterated my passion to continue with research and pursue my dreams of being a professor one day. And so once I finished my thesis and went through the process of applying, I then decided to go to my current institution, which is the University of Northern Colorado, to then continue my education. And I can't help but reflect back to, the good habits that were instilled in me through my thesis experience and how much I apply it to my experiences that I'm currently experiencing now for my dissertation.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, and good luck with all of your dissertation stuff. I know that you've got a good handle on it, but you got this.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Our next question is going to be, is there a difference in timelines between a PsyD and PhD? And then we'll have each of you maybe share some insight on that. I'll hand it off to Jen.
Yeah, so for the PsyD, I think it is dependent on the program. For my program, you can either do 3 years academic and then a 1-year internship somewhere in the country. And then, or you can do a 4-year academic track and then a 1-year internship. So it basically, if you come in with a master's, it helps a lot, especially with the credits. I believe we have required credits of 135 units. So, and your program can take up to, this program takes up to 45 credits. So it definitely helps a lot to have your master's and, be able to be on that 3-year track. I'm on that 3-year track and trying to get everything done, and be out of here as soon as possible. But it's not impossible to do the 3-year track without a master's degree as well. You'll be taking a lot more classes your 3rd year. So your 1st year, you're taking 6 classes, 5 to 6 classes each quarter. Your 2nd year, maybe actually 5 to 6. And then your 3rd year, you're taking like 3 classes. So if you really wanted to, you can fill up that 3rd year. So yeah.
Awesome. And then Danielle, do you mind telling us your timeline for PhD?
Sure. So the first 2 years were mainly my coursework. So that included the 4 semesters, and then at the beginning of my fall semester, my 3rd year, was when I took my comprehensive exams, which included both my written portion of the exam, and then once I had passed my written comps, then I had to complete my oral comps. And so once those 2 were completed, then I was able to share ideas for dissertation research. And once I received feedback on my dissertation research ideas, then I was given a deadline to then have a proposal ready for what exactly I wanted to do for my dissertation. So then that was, I'm trying to think, another semester where I proposed my dissertation research in the summer of this year. And then once I was given the green light, then I started my dissertation research with the intention to graduate May of next year. So that will have been a total of 4 years.
Wonderful. And I've heard it's common to even take 5 years. Do you have peers that are also on the same track between like 4 and 5 years?
So that's a wonderful question. Yes, that's definitely 5 years is definitely a possibility. There are colleagues of mine who have decided to take 5 years and take on additional research projects, additional research experience along with completing their dissertation research. So that's definitely an option.
All right, thank you for sharing. And our next question, we've kind of brushed on this a little bit, so I'm just going to skip that one. My next question was, does the PhD PsyD involve conducting research, which we know that the PhD is super heavy in research, and then from what it sounds like with the PsyD, you can have the option if your institution gives that to you, but you just have to be extremely passionate because it sounds like you have a full plate already. So my next question is going to be, what is the research funding like for your program? Either of you can jump.
Research funding, so yeah, it's very dependent on which professors are doing the research and if they have grants or not. Yeah, so it's a bit difficult to say for PsyD programs. It's very case by case, I would say. So yeah.
For my particular program, or when I was applying to different PhD programs, the first question, or not first question, but one of the questions that I did ask was what sort of funding takes place. And within my particular institution, the advisor that I was with was very overt and transparent with saying that if accepted into the program, funding would then be available for 4 years guaranteed. And so it was really reassuring for me as a prospective student if and how I was going to be funded. So that was reassuring. And I would agree that it is contingent on which faculty that you're learning or wanting to work with, because there were faculty within the department that I'm in that was honest with my other colleagues and saying that I can fully fund you, or if they wanted to take on additional students but couldn't fully fund, that there was that transparency as well. So I would agree that it definitely depends on the advisor that you have and how honest that they are with how you're going to be funded as one of their students.
So it seems like that may be a good question to ask as you are looking for a PhD program, as well as double checking, is this advisor going to be the right person to lead me to the research that I want to do? And do they have the funding to allow for that? So thank you for sharing that one.
I think also just to add for the funding side for the PsyD program, like Daniel just said, like the PhD programs, like you're under an advisor, so it's dependent on your advisor. Just funding for PsyD programs is, at least for my program, was dependent on, your financial needs if you expressed it during interviews, as well as just your financial aid application. So that's something I had to learn, like between the PsyD applications, PhD applications, like the PhD side is going to offer more funding. It's not always fully paid, but it's always super nice that it is. So it's really cool. But the PsyD side there's definitely a little lack of funding. So I was happy to have been told that early on in my application process, because it's definitely really important to take into consideration as you're making your decisions. That helped me decide between if I was going to go to the either the PsyD program I was accepted into or the PhD one. So yeah.
Thanks for adding that in. That's some good information. I'm going to do a combined next question. I had two, but I think they'll fit well together. So double question. Did you apply for both? And how did you know which one was right for you?
Yeah, so I did do both. I think I only applied to one PsyD and 3 PhDs. And when it came down to, the University of Denver and the other school, I had to think about, did I want to do research and how much do I want to do clinical work? Like, did I want to become a professor? What are the different, what do I see myself doing? And the end goal for me really is to work in a college or university counseling center, working with athletes as well as not a non-athlete population. And I am interested in maybe doing like just maybe teaching one class on the side or something like that. But I want to go more of the clinical route of, having just one-on-one therapy with my clients and just being a part of a counseling center. So the PsyD program was very, they set you up for that very early. I know mine, like I said, we start our first quarter with hours. So when it comes to internship applications, we're already above the required numbers you need for those internships. And then also funding, it came down to that as well. It was offered money for the PsyD program, but not the PhD program, which is a little interesting. But yeah, those are my two deciding factors there.
For me, I only applied to PhD programs just because I knew I wanted to be very involved with research and teach. And so I knew that in the application process that PhD programs were the was the route that I wanted to go.
Wonderful. So it sounds like Jania had some thinking to do about what she wanted to do, but Danielle, you were just like, I know what I want to do. All right. So this is our last question that I'm going to be asking from our list, and then we can open it up to the crowd. The question is going to be, what advice would you give to someone applying to either of these programs?
Okay. I would say, being able to determine if you want to go a more clinical route or a more research professor route is very helpful when it comes to this process. Just because, you don't want to get to a point where I was at and I was like, oh gosh, like both look really great. But if you're able to have like an understanding of what you want to do, it helps along the way. That's for like the application process. And then also when you're thinking about programs, now that I'm in it, I think it's important to take a look at like who is there already. We had a lot of changes. Unfortunately, I had a lot of professors leave the program just for being overworked and not having a lot of funding. So it's very upsetting coming into the program and with so many changes going on. But I've had friends within my program that came here for one professor and that professor left. So I had some professors that were honest in telling me they were going to leave before I made my decision. So I was very fortunate in that way, but other people were not. So it's who's there faculty wise. More than one faculty I think is important, because if one leaves and you came there for that person, is very difficult. Also your colleagues, you're going to be with them for 4+ years, and you want to be supported as you're going along this journey. So it was important for me to go to a program that had people of color as well. So I connected with people of color once I was making my decisions between the two schools. I know one of the schools had a lot more people of color, but it was still important to me that I went to somewhere that took it serious and it reflected. And yeah, I mean, I think there's always room for growth when it comes to having more diverse programs, and hopefully we can see that more. But I was pretty happy with what I did see and like the support that is there.
The bit of advice that I would give is, I would agree, know what you want to do, and that helps along the road, and be sure it's something you really want. And I would say, in being in this process, there are times where you're gonna feel like it's very, very challenging. And if you fall back on the advice that I receive from Dr. Magical, Dr. Eid, and Dr. Vargas, and the experience is that it's supposed to be a huge growth, like the biggest growth process that I have had so far, in terms of, adhering to feedback, wanting and striving to get better. That is what you have to go into knowing. There have been times, I'm going to be frank, that there's a lot of, feedback on a manuscript that is not meant to deter you from proceeding forward. But if you look at it in terms of how you are supposed to get better, then that's the sort of mind frame to have in this process. In applying, the interviews that you have, if given the opportunity, is not only for the advisor or faculty or students that are currently going to the university to get to know you, but it's also an opportunity for you to get to know them. I can't say how important it is to ask questions about funding. It's really a fair question to see if in fact, you're going to be financially taken care of. So that's one factor that you don't have to consider or be super stressed about when you're going through, the next, 4, possibly 5 years of, your education, and getting a feel, if you can, going there in person, seeing if you can see yourself adapting to your new place that you call home away from home. It's so important to feel that you see yourself there, because if it feels like it's foreign or something where you can't quite see yourself, that's really important to listen to as well. And then also just having a great support system, knowing that this is going to be a very challenging process, knowing you can do it, finding that the people that can support you is just so important. Like the whole colleague piece, I cannot say enough how important it's made a difference for me, and knowing that my colleagues are in support of one another, as opposed to it being where you feel like you can't relate with other people. So if there's anything that I'm forgetting or you have questions about, please let me know. But those are the things that come at the forefront of the brain.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. Oh,
Thanks.
sorry, Jania, go ahead.
No, Danielle brought up like a really good point. Like I remember the interview process I was like, who am I? Like, I don't know. I was like, I had all these questions I like wrote down. I was like, this is so intense. But for me personally, like the interview day was like, I had one interview. It was like 5 hours long. Like it was just a lot. And I was like, I don't know who I am. Like, but actually sitting down and taking the time to reflect on all the things you've done to get to the interview process itself is already a huge accomplishment, especially now that most programs have gotten rid of the GRE. So many people apply, and the amount of people that get to the interview process is already so limited. So yeah, I left that interview process a lot more reassured about myself when I took that time to reflect on, I got here for a reason. And I think when someone gave me the advice of saying, if you got to this part, I think Danielle spoke on this earlier, but this is opportunity for you to like interview them, and that kind of makes you the prize here in this situation. And you just have to show up and just tell someone about yourself, and if it's the best fit for you, it'll work out in that way. So yeah, the interview process was very eye-opening for me. So
Yeah, thank you for adding that on. And I'm still shocked that you said 5 hours for an interview. What were you guys talking about for that long? Oh goodness. Okay, so that's something to look forward to, isn't it? So we'll go ahead and open it up to our guests here. If anyone has a question, just go ahead and let us.
I have a question for Jania. So you said, I think you have 5 to 6 classes per quarter for the first 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
What are each of those classes like, and is that overwhelming at all?
Yeah, so I would say it's overwhelming because it is quarter system. Coming from a semester system was like a complete shock. So like you have 10 weeks to do those classes. And so those classes were kind of looking like your introduction courses. I mean, I have to retake stats again, which is very upsetting, but they wouldn't take my previous stats course. I tried so hard just to like not have to do that. But yeah, you're doing your stats classes. You're also doing a seminar class where you have a supervisor who observes your sessions with clients. So that is one of them. And I don't know why I'm blanking on some of them, but a lot of them are your introduction classes. I know I had preconceptions about doctoral programs. I decided I was going to do a doc program in, I think, my sophomore year of college. And I was like, I don't know, that's a really long time for now. I'm pretty scared about it. And I don't even think I'll be qualified. And, actually being in a program, I had people, like professionals, say like, no, like, you're fit for this, especially if you were able to complete your master's and do a thesis as well. Like you're going to make it, you're going to be okay. And it was really hard to like believe people, because I just had these thoughts like doc programs, they're intense. Those people they're just amazing and they can handle a lot more than me. But I think being in actual classes, it's actually very manageable, the content. I think time management is a bit difficult, and that's where I've had to grow. So the class content hasn't really been what's, difficult for me to adjust to. It's more like, 6 classes, 2 client, hours of internship. So it's working with, your externship sites and where you're doing your practicum to be like, I am a student at the end of the day. Here are the amount of hours I can give you. So it's also setting boundaries as well. So.
I have a question. So I know Jania went straight in and Danielle had a year between. So how do you feel about going straight through versus having some time in between?
That's a good question. Yeah, everyone told me I'm crazy. They're like, I don't really know what you're doing. I was like, I don't know. I was like, I just want to go for it. Going straight into it, I feel it was like a really good decision just because I wanted to make sure that I take my grad academic experience from my master's program and apply it while I'm in my doc program. So it's like managing my classes as well as the thesis. So I feel like prepared when my doc paper comes and I have to do the IRB process. Like I just did that a year and a half ago. So, I feel like reassured that I've been able to lean back on the previous grad experiences I have. But I wasn't actually opposed to like also taking a year off. Like if I didn't get into a program, my plan was to take a year off, just get more clinical experience and just jump right into it. So there's actually even, I want to say like 5 or 6 people out of the 38 in my cohort who are straight from undergrad. So that I don't know how they're functioning, but it's because I need the master's experience to like really ground me in that shift from undergrad. So I think actually from some of them that I have talked to, they were passionate about it, so they decided to jump right into it from undergrad. So that's also very possible. It's definitely a preference. I know you can. So that just speaks to say that you don't need a master's to get into the doctoral programs as well. If you have that clinical experience, that research experience, it is possible to do that.
Taking a year off was good. By the time I started my my program, I was, I guess you could say, for lack of better words, recharged and ready to hit the ground running. It gave me some time to get additional work experience as well as do a little bit of traveling. So it was a good year off spent. And I was pretty excited to start though once that fall semester came around.
Now, Danielle, are you expanding on your thesis that you worked on here at Long Beach, or are you just making a whole other thesis?
That's a fantastic question. So it's definitely different from when I did for my thesis. My thesis looked at body image perceptions within female collegiate swimmers. And I've slightly pivoted my research focus to youth in physical activity and exercise by assessing parent perceptions of their child's experience within a particular youth program. So a definite slightly different direction than where I went for my thesis for my master's. So that just speaks to if you do want to do something in relation to what you did for your master's thesis, that is a route you can go. Or if you want to look into something different, that is also a possibility as well.
I have another question mainly for Jania. I was just trying to think about like the CMPC stuff that we're going through now. So I assume because it's so difficult to get the hours, you didn't complete the CMPC certification at Long Beach. How does that factor into a PsyD program? Like, are you still pursuing that? Is that important to you? And is it important in general if you're doing a PsyD?
Yeah, I think so I wasn't able to complete my hours at Long Beach. I did get a good chunk of them. So if I wanted to go the route with CMPC, I probably could complete that route. There are some people that have PsyD and CMPC, so it is definitely possible to do that. I one of the within the program, so we do practicum placements each year, and our selection of internship or externships that we have available for us for practicums can also be working with athletes. So within the PsyD program, you can come in, get a placement at a externship, such as a university like CU Boulder, I think Colorado State University, I think, and receive hours that way. I think that's within their counseling centers. So you'll be doing one-on-one therapy. So it's a lot of one-on-one experiences as well as group therapy that allows you to get those hours. So, and like I said, I think I get like 484 hours each year. I think it's broken down separately. It's not all direct. The majority of it is direct. But yeah, so I'm personally not going to CMPC route as of right now. I think I will have the hours to do it. And if I feel like I want to go ahead and go that route, get the certification, I can do that. But yeah, good question.
Can I ask what your favorite part of the experience has been so far? Like, what's the best celebration moment you've had?
Great question. I think I have my first ever real therapy client. I think that was a big part for me. Yeah, I was really nervous about having a client, like, I don't know, like a couple weeks into being here, but yeah, I'm just really excited to get rolling with that, and hopefully be able to for my comps exam be able to do like a case conceptualization on them and just be able to present possibly this client and feel comfortable developing as a clinician. Yeah, I was just really excited with this program. Do I like? Okay, yeah, Colorado. That's a great question because I like Colorado. I miss the beach. I'm just gonna say that. I really miss the beach, but it is like really pretty here. The sky is closer. That's how I'm determining that's why it's pretty here. Like, we're higher up. There's a lot more clouds. The sunsets are great. I am adjusting to the snow. We're gonna put it that way. Yeah, I've slid a couple times. So yeah.
I agree with the whole Colorado statement. I definitely feel like, yeah, builds tougher skin. Although I still get laughs from my colleagues when I come in looking like a puffball when it's like definitely snowing outside. Yeah, when I still have the same interpretation when it's anything like 55 and below, that's cold, but everyone's still wearing like long sleeve shirts or even short sleeve shirts and shorts, and I'm all bundled up. So it's an adjustment period, but it's beautiful out in Colorado. Yeah. I'd say the best part so far is I think I have learned the most about myself throughout this experience. I think the whole process and I'm coming to learn and definitely embrace is each step of the way is supposed to give you those additional tools to put under your tool belt in order to then be prepared for the next step. So I feel like the biggest celebratory moment was having the moment of passing my oral comprehensive exams to where then I could be considered ABD, which is all but dissertation. And it at first, my first year, I remember asking my advisor, okay, so what does this process entail? Like, how do I have to be prepared? And she pretty much told me to slow down and embrace the process as it comes, because each step of the way, the classes you take, the research projects that you decide to be involved in are all things to give you tools under your tool belt. So once I completed that, or accomplished that, I couldn't help but agree. So yeah, it's all a process of preparing you for the next endeavor.
I would like to ask Jania a question. So I'm finishing up the course 572, where we begin consulting with our peers and like pretending like we're, CMPC and we're working with people. So it's kind of the same when you say like, I was kind of thrust into this position where I'm already consulting, and I feel that way on a micro level, right? Like with my classmates, I'm like, oh, wow, we're going for it. I don't really know what's going on. So how would you say like that experience or other experiences you've gained during your master's helped you to be able to feel successful with your first one-on-one client?
Yeah, I think I remember doing those assignments, being like, what already? This is crazy, me. And I think, from that class, it's important to like realize that that's just a peer you have right there. So that's like the time to be, trying different things and, being uncomfortable with someone who's also uncomfortable too. Not that your clients or your athletes aren't going to be uncomfortable with you, but that's someone who's doing the exact same assignment with you. So you can be honest with them, like, I don't really know what question to ask here, or, I don't really like, there's room to like fill in the gaps. And then other experiences being like, I was consulting with the track team there when I was there. And, that one was also very much, you show up and you have to build your relationships immediately. I think it was like 80 athletes. Like, how are you able to get them to trust you, but also like build a good relationship with them? So, I think those experiences have really prepared me for where I'm at right now. I remember when I was doing my interview, one of the interview components, you had to interview another person who's in the interview process. So you're just doing a 5-minute mini therapy session, and you have to convey so much. So you have to like build that a rapport early. You had to, be able to summarize what that person was saying, and just like reflect that all within 5 minutes. And I definitely took what I, have from the classes. Learning how to build rapport is probably like the biggest part for me, because it just sets the foundation for everything else. If, if your client doesn't, feel comfortable around you and doesn't feel like they can come up to you with any type of concern, it's very difficult to even get anywhere with them. So I definitely learned that from, my time at Long Beach as well. So yeah.
All right, I'm going to say final call for questions. We'll give it just another second. All right.
Not a
Well,
question, but so good to see both of you. Just so good to see both of you.
We can put our,
Great.
I'm willing to put my email in the chat too, just for if anyone wants to email me.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you so much. If you have any more questions, just let us know. We can go ahead and throw those out there before we finish up. But I'm going to go ahead and keep moving through to our kind of wrap up here. So the big takeaways with the differences between career options that we kind of heard today were that the PsyD is going clinical, working with people one-on-one or maybe in small groups. And then you can specialize within that going for forensics, military, or like children's psychological stuff. And then when it comes to the PhD, we're looking at a lot of research with the opportunity to teach afterward. And then looking at the funding and the research differences, PhD seems to have hopefully a bit more funding for those types of projects versus PsyD, maybe, maybe not, depending on your program. And then the differences in length of program, we found out were about 3 to 4 for the PsyD, depending on how many classes you decide to put on your plate. And then with the PhD, we're looking at about 4 to 5 years. So that's what we got for our wrap up. And if you want to add anything to that, please do. Otherwise, final call for questions for our guest speakers. And I guess we'll just go ahead and say thank you for your time and knowledge and being here today. We appreciate you and wish you all the luck as you continue on with your education. And you're almost done. There's nothing more you could do after this unless you want to go get another degree, but I don't think you guys want to do that now. So you're almost at the end. Congratulations. All right. Yes, thank you, thank you. So we'll go ahead and just finish the wrap up with a fun announcement that next semester we're going to be looking for an event coordinator chair. So if you're interested in being out and about working with the SCP club, or if you know any of your peers that would be a good fit for this, let them know. And then we'll be posting about it on our Instagram, probably emailing about it through the break, looking for someone that might want to take that position on. So we'll get the word out there. Another thing I wanted to try to see was what our members wanted to see next semester or in the future from the SCP club. So if you want to unmute or put it in the chat, you can. And then just one final thank you for all of our support this semester. It's been a good one. I feel like we had quite a bit of fun, both virtually and in person this year. So that's been something that I feel that we've had a good time doing. So thank you again to our speakers, and then members, please let us know what you'd like to see from us. Claps. Thank you. Probably just hang out here on the Zoom and chat if anyone wants to hang. Otherwise, that's a wrap, friends.
Bye, everyone.
Hi, I just wanted to say again how sorry I am. I was running behind from another meeting, so sorry again for my tardiness. Okay.
You're all
Wishing
good. We're
everyone
just happy to have you here.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. But wishing everyone a very fruitful end to their semester and hope you have a great rest of your holidays. Ah, so exciting. Okay, take care.
Hi guys.
All right.
Good to see
Hey.
you.
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
Andrew's got his hair all wrapped up. Oh my gosh, I have to stop. They're gonna
Oh.
see your hair, Andrew. There it is.
everyone
Okay.
on e-board here?
Everyone except, oh, Jeremy, he's gone. He just left.
And he said bye.
Yeah, this is our board though, and minus
Hello, board.
Kaylee ran away, but
Where'd he go?
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I joined and saw Dr. Reed, and I was like, maybe not.
Dear towel. I think she would have loved it.
We'll never know.
how are you guys? How's it going?
Going smooth.
Good.
Crazy. I understand what you guys meant. Your guys' second year, it's all kind of intertwined and it seems redundant. All the
All the
classes.
classes? Yeah. The second year I was like, all right, guys, let's get it together. Because these classes are the same.
Yeah. But
How's your
they did
first-
switch up for the first year, so they did switch up the classes.
What, how? What would they do?
I think I don't know, Jenny, if you want to speak instead of me speaking for you guys, or Andrew, but I think their second semester they're taking the injury class, an exercise psychology class, but not with
Okay.
Dr. Eid because
And then we're also doing the ethics class, right? Genevieve?
You're doing ethics?
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. I always thought ethics should be first year, and then we do, I forgot, what's the other one that was similar to ethics? Oh, multicultural. Yeah. How's the first year?
It's good so far. I definitely related to you when you were talking about how like right away you're jumping in, because like I felt that exact same way this first semester doing the applied sports psych class, where obviously it's in a controlled environment and it's not real, but still just like immediately jumping in, and I just got this wave of, well, I've been getting imposter syndrome this whole time, but like even more so then of just like, what the fuck am I doing? Like,
Yeah. Even it's in a controlled setting, but it's like you also don't know that person at first. So you're like, you have to make up a client. Like, I don't know. I made a really hard client. I was like a retired athlete, like help me figure my life out. But that was really bad. Don't do that. Yeah. What about you, Genevieve? How's the first year?
It's going. I would say that like it's been pretty smooth with like the classes like 696 and 574. I'm doing the same topic for both the projects, so my life has been much more simple because of that. Yeah, no, I can't imagine having two separate topics. I think I would have cried almost every time I had to open that up. So I think I made it a little easier for myself in that regard. But yeah, everything's going well. Kind of just the same thing you said, time management, because there's a heck of a lot of things going on, and you just got to stay on top of it. Otherwise, I always tell myself, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? I got to do it.
Yeah.
So,
Danny, you're still in undergrad, right? You're a senior? How's that
Yeah. Honestly, I just hope, or I really want to get into the grad program. I wish I was in the program already. Like knowing everybody, right? It's like, I wish I was there with you guys, like experiencing what you were experiencing, you know. So I wish I could relate.
You'll get there.
Hope.
I know it.
So. But I mean, just being a part of the club, it's certainly already taught me a lot. It's got me wanting to get more involved. So I'm getting to know people from ASI, and it's like they teach you things. Like there's stuff that you learn from them just because you know they're going through their own thing, and then stuff I'm learning. It's like you can really apply it to what they're talking about, and it kind of helps them, you know. So I mean, that's what, you know, we're here. Just we're in the business of helping people, so it's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah. It's good to see you though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I was like, I want to do something for them, and then luckily it worked out because I was like, I don't know when I'll be able to with classes, but yeah, we have a break until January 3rd. But I have to work and I have to do my externship, so they're keeping me here, which kind of.
Oh no, you don't get to go home for the holidays?
I went home for Thanksgiving. And just for a week. I just actually flew in this morning. And then I'm gonna go home because you have to negotiate with your externship sites, like, hey, can I have this week off? Yeah, I'm like, okay, because they're like, you know, your school's on break, but we're a clinic, like your clients are on break. So I was like, that's true. Like, I don't want to just like leave them out. So
is that a paid position?
No, some are though. Some people can get paid. The ones I want just aren't. Like, I want to work in CU Boulder's athletic counseling situation, whatever it is. That's not paid either. Some of them are paying pretty nice. There's like one that's like $1,200 a month. I was like,
holy, I want to do that one.
Pay my rent, but you have to work with kids. And I was like, yeah. But somehow I'm doing court therapy. It doesn't really add up.
So you brought this up, and I'm actually super curious about like forensic psychology. I actually
Oh,
think it's like
cool.
the coolest thing ever. 'Cause you know how I'm always watching my little documentaries and like we brought in a forensic psychologist to find the truth. And I'm like, give us the truth. What is
Yeah.
it? So like, so how does that work within like your program? What does that specialty look like?
Yeah, so there's a couple, I think there's like 4 forensic psych classes you can take. Actually, there's a master's program. So within the master's program, actually, I might want to fact check that. But the math, you can take a couple classes and that'll be your specialty track. So you do like 15 credits of specialty. So I'm doing the substance use because I'm like, forensics scares me. I'm gonna be honest. I can't be up there. Like some people, they're doing expert witness type stuff. I'm like, absolutely not. No. There's the military and child. Like I said, I don't want to work with kids. They're cool. I like them, but I don't want to work with them. So, but yeah, so you would be able to take a couple classes and then you get to choose what externships you want to do. So like my site, we work with domestic violence offenders, DUIs, and substance use treatment types of work. So I'm personally doing I haven't started yet. I'm just observing because I was like, you guys, I'm not ready. But I co-lead a women's domestic violence group where we're just working on accountability. And then privately, you do individual therapy with court mandated or non-court mandated clients. So, but there's a lot of forensic opportunities here. They have a lot of externship sites, a lot of classes as well. So the sports side of it is not as much because I already have my master's. I can just do externships. So that's what I'm planning on doing next year, hopefully.
Oh, cool beans. Yeah.
What do you do for work? Like how is
Oh yeah.
that managed?
We have like a clinic in our school. So I worked like the front desk there.
Okay.
And yeah, so like taking clients' calls, phone screens, putting in all their files and stuff like that. And yeah, so we see 2 clients within that clinic as students, and then you do an externship on top of that too. So it's very interesting. But yeah, it's like 7.5 hours a week, just working. So, it's enough to like give me like a little bit of money to like, I don't know, pay for gas or something like that, which is cheaper here. It was like $2.95 the other day.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I was like, oh,
That's nuts.
this is
That's
but then
good.
you also go out there and there's ice and you're sliding. So
Yeah.
which sucks
Just put
'cause-
some in the mail for us or something. Send us some gas in the mail.
yeah, I'll figure that
Truck
out.
it over. Yeah, right. Please. Man.
Yeah.
Well, you can't have everything, right?
Yeah. No,
So-
honestly. Like if you guys could just like send the sun, like the sun is here. The sun comes out every day. But I got in this morning, it was 12 degrees. I was like crying in the club. Like, what is going on right now?
Your tears are freezing as they're coming out of your
I was
eyeballs.
like-
Like, no.
I was wearing a mask and there was literal like fog coming out of the mask.
Oh
I
my God.
was so
No,
upset.
thank
I was
you.
like, get me home. Like, I'm so cold.
Aw.
Like, I want to. No, it's too dark. I was gonna like my car's out there. It's completely covered in snow, and
Mhm.
like, okay, I just want to
Oh
stay home.
no.
But-
Yeah, it's funny. We have some East Coasters in our first year, and they're like, oh God, we went home and it was cold and like we miss it. We miss it back here. It's nice to be back where it's like livable weather.
I know, right? Yeah, I was back for the week, and I was like, this is nice. I don't have to wear a jacket. Don't have to wear a sweater, boots. I had to buy like a whole new wardrobe. Like, it's
Yeah, no,
tiring.
it's a whole different ball game. Yeah, I'm not even good at dressing for winter. Like, 'cause I need
I
to
showed up here
step
with
up my game for here.
right. I showed up with like jeans and crop tops. What am I gonna do? Everyone was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you're so from LA." I was like, "I'm sorry."
Mhm.
That's all I have.
Yeah.
Well, how far?
Well, thanks
did-
again for.
Yeah.
Oh, go
How far
ahead.
did you end up living off campus?
I'm like 15 minutes away
Okay.
without the snow. So like Yeah, I have to say that because I went to class one day and I was driving and the back of my car just like started sliding. Mind you, I bought a car so I could drive in the snow. And this happened. Apparently they don't salt the roads here. So there's just ice. And everyone's like, yeah, you're gonna slide. I'm like, why is that normal? It's not normal. They're like, yeah, just if you start spinning, turn into it and just do a full circle. I'm like, absolutely not. I think you're supposed to spin out of it. So yeah, I'm about 15 minutes away. I want to say about 25 with snow because they don't really know how to drive here. They drive really slow. Actually, some are slow, some are really fast, but the lines are white, so the snow covers it, so people make up their own lanes. Even on the freeway. I really don't know.
Oh, Lordy. That
Yeah.
is scary, honestly.
Yeah. I'm
Not
hoping for a
loving
lot
it.
of snow days because they do that. I don't want to drive there, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Doesn't
It
sound like
sounds
it's
like a
safe to do that.
sitcom almost. Yeah,
Yeah.
this sounds like a sitcom. Like, how is this real? Like, this is actually
I'm
that's
telling
Colorado.
you, like what? Like, where's the sun? Where's the summer at? Summer is really nice. It's like it was really hot. Like it's cool, but I think it snows here till March. And like, are you guys serious? I don't know.
Are you gonna try any snowboarding or maybe tubing, perhaps?
Tubing. I've done
That would be
tubing in the
me.
past. I've done tubing in the past. So I said if I do go, I actually need to like snowboard. And I'm not gonna chicken out and do tubing because I don't have my sister here to take me with me, and I'll be the only one
Oh.
tubing. So I'm like, no.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll try and
yeah.
snowboard. I don't know when.
I believe in you. You can snowboard to class if you get really good at it. Just kidding.
I wish. Actually, don't. It's actually that's really cold. But yeah, I mean, it was really good to see you guys. It looks like everything's going really well. I saw your events, like the bowling alley one. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we're
said, "Oh,
doing it
yeah."
up. We're doing it up. We're doing it up over here.
It's gonna be like an annual event. Like you guys have an actual team. You guys should. That'd be kind of fun. Daniel, you'll just bring it. Make sure you bring it up when you're, in the program.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's gonna have everybody doing activities all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's been good. This semester has been a good one. I feel like we did a lot with what we had. It feels like it freaking flew by too, because we didn't really do our first meeting until like September. We did like 3 months, but it was jam-packed full of a bunch of things. Whew, but done now.
Yeah.
Till next semester.
Take a
Yeah.
little break.
Yeah, need it. I'm also thinking I want to obviously have Taylor back to do
Mhm.
a panel on that one, but I'd love to brainstorm who else would be good, like other alumni that are already like in their niche
Yeah.
in the field. That would be a fun one. Like
Taylor might.
Instead
I
of-
think she'll do it. I see her, I think once a month because she's an hour from me.
mhm,
It's nice. She was like the only person in Colorado I knew before I came here. But
yeah.
yeah, I know she's traveling a lot for work. So
Oh,
you might
really?
ask her. Yeah, she does a lot of trainings in different states. So
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
does she go to like the bases, like the fort,
Mhm.
whatever?
yeah,
Yeah,
other
okay.
bases are out there. Yeah, she goes out there. She does like a couple trainings. So yeah, I'm actually supposed to talk to her soon and get dinner with her.
Yay. We'll tell her we say hi and that
Yeah.
she's up next for next semester. She's going to be on a
Okay.
panel for sure.
Okay,
Warn her.
I will. Alrighty, well, I hope you guys have a great rest of your night and enjoy the warmer weather. You're probably
Aw.
cold, but
I'm freezing, but I'm sending all the warmth your
Thank
way.
you.
I want you to feel it too. And thank
Thank
you
you.
again for being
Yeah.
here for this. I know that you're a busy gal, so it was great to have you.
No problem. It's good seeing you guys.
All
All right, thanks, Julia.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
We don't need to talk, or did you
Well,
want to
team.
talk?
Nope. I was just gonna say good job, team. Deuces to
Yes.
fall 22.
Yeah.
You're done and dusted. That's it.
No, we just have to finish the actual work this semester.
Oh. I know.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a lot you guys need to do for finals? forgot.
I'm trying to think of what I have left to do personally, because we had our like methodology like proposal thing that I just finished for research methods. And then I have to finish that one last thing for the portfolio for applied. And then
Oh, yes.
Genevieve and I are in the same group for like the group like activity thing. We need to figure that out.
Which group activity?
And then we,
And then the fucking lit review. And I'm like halfway done.
and we have presentations for our
And the
research
presentation
proposals.
for that, or no, for research methods, and then finals. So
Presentation for research methods.
yeah, for
She said
the
it's a new thing. We're guinea pigs.
for the proposal. Okay.
Oh,
Could
that's
have lived
nice.
without it.
Yeah, no, it's useful. I
Like,
don't know how but
I'm just gonna
Well,
make
you
like
guys,
PowerPoints, like a PowerPoint slide.
yeah.
what about
Yeah,
for
it's
you
just-
two? How's it going?
I had 2 presentations this week. I did one last week, so I'm done. Some people still have to present next week. And then I have two finals next week. So then I'll be done. by the
Only
time-
2. Nice. That's not bad at all. Only 2. Wow.
Yeah.
No.
Is that how it's going to be for me when I get to my 3rd semester? Pray.
Hopefully, are you taking SPSS your 3rd semester?
Probably. If that's the way it's supposed to be, then yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because ethics.
Daniel, how about for you?
Yeah.
A couple papers, a couple big exams. I finished that documentary I told you about. But yeah, it's hard. It was harder than I thought. It didn't come out maybe the way I wanted to, but hey, it was practice, and who knows, in the future I might do it again. That was pretty cool. Cool experience.
Nice.
Well, we're almost there.
Yeah. Very close.
How's it vibes?
Well, if I don't see you guys through the halls of classes during the next couple weeks, then I wish you all the luck. A's only 100% coming our way. I feel it. It's in the cards for us. So good luck. We got this. I will be reaching out to you guys probably sometime in January about meetings popping up again.
Yep.
Andrew, of course, you're going to hear from me because we're going to keep posting during the winter break. So fun. Oh, and then Daniel, reimbursement thing.
Yeah. Do you have the receipt? You have the receipt, right? You said? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I meant to ask you that when we got back from break. But
Yeah, I meant to ask too, and I forgot.
yeah, I'll take, if you want, I can get it, or I'll double check just how you could do it on your own. I'll give you the information. Yeah, I'll give you that information for sure.
Cool. Thank you, treasurer. You're the best. And no rush. So don't worry if you're like, if other things are on the forefront of your mind, like finals, let's just do that first and then that later, because it's not not a huge deal, but just want to make sure I don't forget altogether.
I got you.
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, team.
All right.
Whew.
Good meeting. See ya.
Bye, y'all. Nighty night.
Bye. Night night.